We're live. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome to Spiritual Discoveries with Angie and Friends. My name is Angie Apt, and I'm with my friend Tom Cratsley. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Angie.
How you doing?
Good, good.
That's good. Tom's down in Lilydale, which we are looking very forward to the season opening. Not till the end of June, but it's coming, I think, pretty quick. Don't you, Tom?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you got a lot of.
Again, the older we get, the quicker things move.
I
Seems.
know, I know. I was just talking to somebody about that the other day. That's really true. My mother used to always say that, and I never believed her. It's true. But everybody get ready though, because and I think opening day is maybe around the 21st or 22nd. I'll have to look it up of June. But we're definitely excited about that. And yeah, I know you're doing a lot of teaching right down there this summer, Tom.
Yes, I have a couple of classes. I do on the regular basis throughout the season. We have a healing circle at the Healing Temple, and
Yeah,
that's on a Friday night.
yeah.
And the first class I'm doing is healing mastery, and it begins um, early uh, early July, the Sunday following the 4th. So
Oh,
I think
oh,
it's like the sixth or seventh, and it goes through the week till Friday. And there are two sessions each day. But that one of my favorite classes to teach
yeah,
because we do for two reasons. One reason is it's taught in the temple, and the temple, being the sacred place, always has some. It's got a special energy, especially when you're focused on healing. Right?
yeah, yeah.
So we do a lot with the heal. It's called healing mastery, and so we do a kind of a survey of healing techniques, and particularly focused on spiritual healing and and the universal availability of that healing energy. And then you spend the week developing your capacity to access and work with that energy.
Yeah. So
As
Tom, talk.
well, the other aspect of that class that's really wonderful for a lot of people is the opportunity to work and serve in the temple. So you have an opportunity to work in that sacred space,
Yeah.
and it's very special.
That healing temple, I love to go to that healing temple and even just sit there. You feel the energy as soon as you walk in the door. It's so special in there. Huh?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Tom, talk for a second about let's talk about energy healing, okay? So for people, I know what it is, and I know a lot of people do,
Mhm.
but how would you describe energy healing?
It's really interesting because right now, since the New Age back in the '60s, there were a lot of brand names for healing,
Mhm.
for spiritual healing or energetic healing. And as far as I'm concerned, it's all the same. It's all coming from um, um, the same vital human energy and spiritual energy
Uh-huh.
that certainly in the East they talk about it. They use the word chi,
Uh-huh.
right? Chi
Yeah.
is life force energy,
Right.
and in spiritual healing, what we do is we connect to the highest aspect of that life force energy, which we believe to come from the spiritual realms and become embodied in the physical,
Right.
right?
Right.
So as a spiritual healer, it's your job to get into a state of consciousness that allows you to feel that you're connected with that those spiritual flows of energy, and it's that energy that you bring to the table. And the interesting thing for me is I one of the things that when I talk about the universality of energy, of healing energy, is when I'm doing healing, I believe myself to be more of a witness rather than a channel.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
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 Now, I
You
am present with the energy, and that's true, and I feel the presence of it. But my job is to witness what the universe wants for the subject that I'm working with, for the person I'm working with.
So is that almost like intuition in a way where you're kind of connecting in or different, like the energy is directing you? To, I'll let
Yeah,
you explain it.
it
Yeah.
certainly utilizes the intuitive faculties.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
but I wouldn't say that it's um you're utilizing those faculties, but the intent matters. So if the intent is just to watch the highest and best and what's there for the person, rather than to fix the person,
Right.
okay. So even though people come to you for a particular reason, you we call for the highest and best energy, which may result in a miraculous healing, but it also may result in a partial healing. It may
Yeah.
result in something that improves their situation or their condition without creating a full healing.
Okay, but definitely improves. And I know I'm asking you these questions for people that are on that might not know, but I know how amazing healing is, and even really like you can do healing, and be in the presence of someone, and you can send healing too, right, to people.
Yes, and distant healing can be very, very powerful.
Yeah.
I've experienced it myself, and I've worked with groups, and groups sending spiritual energy to people who are in need. I mean, a couple of examples I have, and I remember um, once sending energy. I was in uh, a meditation circle in Fort Erie, Ontario, and I was invited to lead the meditation. And they told me before I began the meditation that one of the regular members of that group was in a hospital um, following a car accident, and was in pretty. Was expected to be there for several weeks. Um, Many broken bones, internal injuries, that sort of thing.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. Yeah.
So And before the close of the meditation, we as a group, we directed healing energy and asked for healing energy to be directed to this woman. And you could feel one of the things is, especially when you work in a group, you can feel that energy, the presence of the energy. You can feel the connection with the individual who was the subject of the healing. And so we felt that I felt that something good had happened.
Yeah.
But I had no idea of the result of it until a couple of months later, when one of the members of the group was in Lilydale and saying, "Oh, you know what happened to so and so when we sent the healing?" I said, "No, I didn't hear anything about it." She said, "At the time that we sent the healing, and it was around 8 in the evening, she reported that she saw this intense green light come into the room
Wow.
and come over her body, and she felt this powerful healing energy, and she was able to leave the hospital the next day.
Wow.
She still
Wow.
had healing to go through, with the bones in. Not only that, the woman in the bed next to her, who was there, they were expecting her to die, as a matter of fact, she recovered and went to Florida.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So it kind of affected them both. So even the one that you weren't sending it to
Yes.
felt the
And
healing
so
too.
there's an interesting piece here too. Is I
Yeah.
think that healing is a lot, especially with spiritual healing. It happens when there's readiness for the healing.
Yeah. I think
We need
yeah.
to be in a place of readiness. And it turns out that that woman, her and the bed next to her was also in a place of readiness. And so the spiritual um, entities used it as an opportunity to take care of her.
Yeah, that's amazing. I
Yeah.
remember my stepfather was diagnosed. He had cancer, and they were in Florida. My mother said, "Come to Florida and heal Ron." and I had just started, doing all this with you, and I think I came to fellowships and I said, Tom, what do I do? And then you said, just go down. One thing you said is that anybody, I remember, is that anybody can do this, right? Anybody can.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And the most important thing is the intent. You know, you know, have it. Have an intention for the well-being of another, and and the invitation is part of the intent. The invitation to the highest and best of the divine, of spiritual energy to come through.
yes, yeah. Well, so anyway, so back to that. You said anybody could do it, just go do, and you said that, set your intention. So I went down, and my stepfather was really a non-believer. He didn't want anything to do with healing or any kind of things like that. Well, now he was sick, so he was a little bit more open to it. And so I started working on him, and it started to relax him, and he felt better. And he'd have his treatments, for his chemotherapy, and he would feel better after I worked on him. So when I and then for me too, it made me believe more too, because I could see the effects on him. But the biggest thing was, I had a friend. So I'm in Florida working on him, and I had a friend up here in New York, and she said, I'll send healing at the same time you do healing. And I said, okay, that's a great idea, right? So we did
Yep.
that. Yeah. And we get done, and he said, he would always say, I can tell you're both done. He could just tell. And I'd say, yeah, I am. And then he'd say, then he said it when I had my friend, does your friend have like short brownish gray hair? And I said, yes. He goes, do you know if she's wearing like a light blue shirt? And he described like what she looked like and what she was wearing. And I said, well, I don't know. I
Mm.
said, let's call her up and ask her. And we called up, and he was correct. So he was kind of a non-believer and picked that up and felt the strength of that healing
Wow.
from me and from her too. So that was amazing.
Yeah, that is wonderful. Yeah, there's all kinds of interesting things that happen that you couldn't predict,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I couldn't predict that. And then after that, he was, every time I was there, it's like, let's do another one of those healings. They make a big difference. So,
yeah,
and I know too, like when we do the circles at fellowships and you do the healing circles, those are amazing too, with the results that you get when you have all of us in a group. Like, I think
in a
that's pretty
group.
powerful
Yeah.
too, right?
Yep. Amplification. There's a tremendous amplification of energy. And let's talk about how that's related to the mess that the world is in right now,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how when we get together like that, no matter where it is, uh, and um, and really sincerely open ourselves to what the universe wants, the highest and best, we have, as human beings, we are also part of what I call the collective psyche of the
Hmm.
species of all humankind. Right? So when we get together in groups, we're starting to link into the species consciousness, and at the spiritual level, that is a very, very powerful force,
Hmm.
right? And so
Yeah.
that as we link to that spiritually, we're also helping to amplify that higher spiritual um, essence of the species, so that others will have a greater chance of of connecting and working with it. It takes time, but it's a powerful and important force, and more people around the world in their own way, in their own groups. It doesn't have to be any one religion or anyone. It has to be sincerity.
Yeah.
You could go into, and here's an example. If you go into any church that's been around for a long time, any cathedral, any house of worship, I don't care what the religion is.
Hmm.
If you go in there, and typically you can go into those places and sit in silence, and you will feel the spiritual power. what is that power? Where's it coming from? It's coming from the sincerity of the people that have been there over time, reaching for their connection with the divine.
Yeah.
It's that simple connection. It's
Yeah.
not about all the trappings of religion. It has nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah. 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 I
You know,
agree. Tom, if people like wanted, because it sounds like you feel that if we all do this and we connect, like say, to that divine energy and maybe come together in groups, do you feel that will help heal our world?
I think it's going to be probably one of the few ways that's really going to matter. See, we've managed to mess it up by trying to figure it out. So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
know,
That's true. Yeah.
so what will happen is that the more people do this, the more likely that spiritual energy will reach more people, that their actions will be inspired actions rather than manipulative actions. There's a
Yeah.
two different; those are two vastly different behaviors, and for humans, we can live an inspired life, or we can live a manipulating life.
Yeah, that's very true. So
Yeah,
if somebody wants to do that and start a group, like I know we started, you actually started, and I just kind of come on and start the Zoom for you, but started like the world healing meditation that you're doing.
that's
Can you
right.
talk, yeah, can you talk about that and why that's so
Yeah, and I
important?
would do a version of that. That's a little bit more in the summer on Fridays for Lilydale.
Okay. Is that what you're doing?
And
Like
yeah, but
talk
the
about
reason,
that.
yeah, and that's part of all that we've been talking about with the psyche of the human species. Let's say the soul psyche. I sometimes call it the psyche sphere. You know, around our world. But the more people get together and do that, um, the more amplified all that energy is, and the more likely people are to respond to it,
Mhm.
and to act in accordance with it, to be inspired rather than um, to be either self manipulating or manipulated by other forces. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
that's hey everybody, people are coming on. Hi Kim, hi Jennifer, hi Nancy. Nancy says the Japanese have a term and concept I taught during a Reiki learning, woo wee woo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it. Do by not doing.
Yeah, yeah. In other words, it's not using um um your power, but it's being open to the power of the universe, and the harmony of the universe. I mean, I believe, like, it was just what Andrew Jackson Davis. Let's go back to the spiritualist teachings. Um, he 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 is well known for the harmonial philosophy. And what's the groundwork of the harmonial philosophy is that the the nature of the divine is to create greater expressions of harmony, on
Yeah,
and on and on, and
yeah.
there's no end to that.
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
No, no, that's true.
yeah,
You can tell, like Tom, when you do, when we do we just did the World Heal meditation, and I think we're going to start doing. We said every other Thursday for now, right?
yeah, yeah. We're doing some live. I do plan, probably within the next couple of months or so. I do plan to have one with music with my friend Rob Gordon. We'll be doing some music, and we'll have one that'll be posted online that anybody could do at any time. Um, and in that, you would imagine, or open your consciousness to be linked to like-minded individuals, wherever.
Yeah,
But um, that's something you can do at any time. But it's also nice to do it um, when there are other live participants,
yes, yeah.
simultaneously.
Yeah, because it increases the energy. I mean, we did one last Thursday, and it's amazing to me how strong the energy is. And as more people come on, you can it increases.
Not only that, and here's the powerful part too, that even though we have an intent in the overall meditation for world healing, we as individuals receive a good measure of that same healing
Yeah. Yeah.
when you take part in that.
Yeah. And you always do it too, where like I love at the end where you say, if you have somebody in your life you want to send healing energy to, say their name or whisper their name, and you're doing that too.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're inviting them into the opportunity for that same healing energy. Yeah.
Yeah. So if say somebody that's listening wants to start a group, or they want to start sending healing, really it's meditation. So we're kind of doing meditation and sending healing, right?
Yeah, it is a meditative state for sure. You know that you take the time to get into that quiet, receptive mode. This is really important that you're receiving the healing energy that the universe has for whatever you're ready to focus on, whether it's the earth, whether it's some specific individual or a group of individuals. Um, and then you just have some time in the quiet, and you allow yourself to observe what the universe is offering.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing.
Mm, yeah.
So Jennifer wants to know, is the World Healing Meditation a recurring event on Zoom that we can participate in?
Well, I think you answered that already. Yeah, we're going to be doing some. We'll be doing them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because we kind of feel like, and I feel like that for everybody. It's like we can all do
Yeah.
our part and make a difference, and if we sit in meditation and we send the healing, you feel the shifts, and when you're doing it. And I feel like that's the thing we can all do to make a difference.
Yeah.
Right, Tom?
I'm total agreement with you on that. Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to start doing that for now every other Thursday. And Tom, when it gets to Lilydale season, for anybody that's just coming on now, is he has a what do you call the thing on Friday nights in Lilydale in the Healing Temple?
Yes, it's a healing circle. We do the world healing, and there's time to do um um some being open and available to the teachings from the spirit realm for those who are assembled there about how um they can be healed, and also what else they can learn about healing, um, that will improve their lives, right? And then we
Yeah.
share that gets shared in that particular circle.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I love that you're doing that. And you said a lot of people come to that too.
yeah, we've had as many as 50 people in one circle, which is
Yeah.
it's a fair number of people in a circle. The in a traditional home circle, there's hardly ever more than a dozen.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
that's
I've sat in many, many home circles over the last half century, and they don't get that big.
Yeah, that's a huge
Yeah,
one. Hey,
yeah.
Tom, so how did you become a healer? Like what drew you to do that kind of work?
That's a good question. I think it's always been there for me. When I remember as a teenager, I was very interested um, in metaphysical pursuits and studying mysticism and Rosicrucians and um, uh, all kinds of uh, spiritual training and teaching and stuff. So it wasn't until I actually visited the Healing Temple in
Wow.
Lilydale,
Yeah.
and I was a freshman in college, and there was a metaphysical coffee clutch at the University of Buffalo. And the subject of Lilydale came up, and we all said, "Oh, road trip, let's go out there, let's check this place out."
Yeah.
And then I remember the first sitting in the healing temple and watching and being present and watching what was happening up front. And I could just feel within me. I go, that's the thing. That's the thing I need to understand
Yeah.
and work with, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so it's been that way ever since. And I, I began spending summers in Lilydale and working in the healing temple. Eventually, working in the healing temple by the probably by the mid 70s, and then every summer thereafter,
Hmm.
I'd come and work in the temple, uh, and still do. I mean, it's
Yeah.
still an important and valuable part of my spiritual life.
Yeah.
Uh, as they say, but so it was there was something within me, and let me see, I want to enter this concept. For me, grace, but I would say grace has been an important part of my spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And I knew, even as a young person, that there were things that were happening that were for me that were benefiting me, and I didn't do anything to make it happen.
Yeah.
I call that grace.
Yeah. I
And
would,
it
yeah.
wasn't coming from me, and I knew it wasn't coming from me, and I was like, boy, this is a great blessing. And I spent time um being grateful for those moments. And the earliest one I can remember, I was like probably 10 years old. At the time, we were living in the country in Attica, New York,
Hmm.
and I spent a lot of time with the neighbor boys who were working their farm, and so I would go on the tractors with them and help them get the hay and so on.
Yeah.
And on one occasion, I was on the tractor with my friend, and he was driving down the lane. We're picking up hay bales, and his brother was on the wagon in the back, and I was going to go from the tractor because when I was standing on the drawbar, I was going from the tractor back to the hay wagon, walking, and I slipped and fell,
Mm.
and he stopped. He was able to stop the tractor just as the wagon wheel was over my neck.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
and I
Wow.
knew in that it's funny. I wasn't anywhere injured. There was like a red mark on my neck, but I wasn't injured at all. And in that moment, I knew something um saved me, and that this that there was something more to my understanding of life than I really knew at the time. But I knew that it was outside of my control, that I was given that moment of grace that
Yeah.
saved me. So that was the first one, and then there've been numerous others, and I also feel that it's so central. When I was at Harvard Divinity School, that we were given an assignment, and the assignment was to come up with your own meaning for some spiritual terms, and grace was one of them,
Hmm.
love, etc. There's a number of them, and the best definition I could come up with grace was that it's the power of love that renders all mistakes temporary.
Oh, I love that, Tom. I love that. I actually have
Yeah,
that saying because you always said that in fellowships, and Elaine always said it. I actually have that hanging in my center with
yeah.
your name on it. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
love
but it was just how I was inspired to understand it and to work with it, right?
yeah,
And so
beautiful.
it's been a blessing. It's been it that um to me it's all about, so much of it is about acknowledging and accepting blessings. You know
Yeah,
that there is an extraordinary great blessing in life itself.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
all it takes is for us to be um in a quiet, welcoming place.
yeah. Yeah, that quiet, welcoming place, like the healing temple, or even inside,
Yeah.
right? Just
Or
inside.
even you could be on your own and be in a quiet, welcoming place. Absolutely. And that's really, to me, that's the great benefit of good meditation. You
Yeah.
know.
Oh, definitely. And isn't it too? It's like how what you're describing. It's that's how we can look at the world that way too. And look for the blessings and connect that
Yeah.
energy and connect to grace because it's there for all of us,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember that old song, and it was like, "Wait, this is the day, count your blessings one by one."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Maybe that's some of what we need to do like in the world too is think about that and count the blessings. Like it's easy to get caught up in and get pulled into hearing the not good things or the discord, if you will. But and we have to pay attention to that, but maybe we have to pay attention to the blessings too. I always think if we focus more on that, we'll create more of that energy.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. And the it's not that we're ignoring the problems. It's it's that when we spend more time in that spiritual state, there's more there's greater likelihood that the solutions will come to us. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
the big problem with humankind is that we are fixated on things that often make no sense and have no have no value.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. That's true. But you're right though. I didn't even think of that. That if we focus on the blessings, it's almost like we open up inside to start looking for the solutions that maybe we can do one by one, or give energy to the solutions that maybe those in bigger power can do. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And especially when it comes to the world, like we look at the world and we say, oh, we're powerless to do anything about that, right?
Hmm.
But if we stop that and spend the time on being centered yourself and being open to the healing energy that can work through you, then you're doing your part to make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not without without having to be fixated on fixing,
Yeah.
fixated on fixing, because
Yeah.
the, the world problems are beyond any individual.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. No, no, I 100% agree. And I think that if we focus on like inside of ourselves on the blessings and that power and peace, and I know that when I meditate, my energy shifts and changes, and then other people in my household or other people I'm around seem to be affected by that too. So if we come together and we meditate, we're going to affect other people around us who will then affect others, and so on and so
and
on. Would you agree with that?
it's almost mathematical. Like you change one part of the equation, another part has to change.
Yeah.
For the equation to work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
And
love.
life is like an equation. It's like that's like we know this is like when one part of a couple goes through a significant change in life, the other person adapts to it,
Yeah.
changes as well, has to change as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You can't help it. That's true. That's true. This is an important. I'm so happy that we're talking about this stuff today because I think there's so many that you want to make a difference or you want to change things and you just don't know what to do, or you feel like it's too big. How can just one little me make a difference? But we can, and it's not even do it is a big thing, but it's not really. It's actually easy to sit down and meditate and send healing out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, it again, it it matters what your fixation is, and I have personally spent too much time in my life fixating on the big world problems with, and what you end up with is a sense of powerlessness and hopelessness, and it actually is an infection on your own life energy.
Yeah.
So, and it's important that we acknowledge that. And I've had to acknowledge it myself and let that go so that you're not identifying. And what happens is we tend to, at that point, we start to identify with what's wrong in the world as opposed to how we can identify with the forces that are fixing it.
Yeah.
The spiritual power that's um that's working to adjust and make it better.
Yeah.
And that's all we can do. That's, as
Yeah.
individuals, that's what we can do.
Yeah, because that's there, like, that's such an important thing to remember. Because 'cause you're right, I've done it too, and I'm watching the news or watching whatever, and, and I have a sense of despair and, you get depressed or hopeless, as you said, but we have to remember that that higher power is there, and if we connect to it, I feel like we're amplifying that too, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And it benefits us, and it simultaneously benefits the world in whatever way it can. So, but we can't, if we focus on looking at exactly how that's being done, um, then we're losing. Then we lose out. If all you need to do is be in touch with how it is, what how you are at your spiritual center, open and available to how the universe wants to work through you. That's true inspiration, and that's the best that any of us can do. And
Yeah.
you always feel good when you're in that place.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, that's for sure, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I just have to read you a couple things that people are you probably can't see the comments, but hi, Destiny. Destiny's saying, "I've been saying that we need to be the change we wanna see despite what's happening around us."
yeah,
Yeah. Nick, that higher power is there. Nancy says, "This is a lovely way to spend time today. Thank you, Angie and Tom." It is, right? It's so
yeah,
yeah. It's great to come together and to be inspired. I feel by you, Tom. Because I've heard you talk about this stuff a lot, and it's so important to share it. With everybody because we can make things better.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's been a blessing in my life. And, from the very first time like I said, very first time I went into that temple, I was certainly exploring the ideas and everything before then,
Hmm.
and into all kinds of spiritual investigation. But that real direct connection to healing as it was happening, it was like it was a great eye opener, and it is for so many people who come to Lilydale. You know, Lilydale. Some people talk about Lilydale from the standpoint of mediumship and getting messages and so on and so forth. Yes, but the one thing that we don't, and I think it's problematic for Lilydale um, not to give more credit and more um, let's say, I don't know, yeah, more credit to the spiritual healing aspect of the work, and how that temple also touches people in a very profound ways. And
Right.
many people that come to Lilydale are smitten, let's say, smitten by the
Yeah,
spiritual energy of the temple.
for
You
sure.
know,
Didn't you said this summer? I wasn't there this past summer because I broke my femur, but I know you said that in the healing temple the lines were very, very long to get in the healing temple this year.
it was beautiful this past summer, and many of the healers were, there was a level of sincerity, of just openness and sincerity with so many of the people who came, and many first timers. Um, uh, in the past, you would see a number of what we call rubberneckers, that didn't allow themselves to get into that open, honest, open space.
Yeah.
Just kind of like, oh, this is kind of weird stuff or whatever, and
Yeah.
no, not openly exploring. But this past summer, we were all touched by it. Many of the healers were touched by it. That there was a depth of sincerity, in general, throughout the whole summer. Yeah, and it touched us all. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, people are looking for healing, I think, and there's something about Lilydale, really the healing temple for sure. But I think Lilydale, you just sort of come through the gates and you feel that energy, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I hear that story. I swear I hear it every summer. And I'll be talking to somebody. They'll say, well, I came with my wife. I just, you know, I got dragged along. But when I got in here, I felt at home. And you
Yeah,
hear this so often from people. They feel spiritually at home and free. They feel liberated to be who they are spiritually.
yeah,
That's
yes.
a great gift.
Yeah. No, I remember feeling it myself and going there the first time and and I couldn't wait to go back. And I talked I hear that same thing where somebody says I got dragged here or whatever. But then all of a sudden it's like and then the one that got dragged here is the one that wants to come back over and over again. We're all looking for that sense of peace. Lynn, hi Lynn. Lynn says where one's energy is focused is where it goes. Focus on healing, and that is where it will flow for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, I love that. Donna says, I love the loving energy of the healing temple. Tom Jennifer Roach says, great show, Angie and Tom. Thanks, Jennifer. Nick, there's a difference inside and outside the gate. That's for sure. Yeah, yeah. It's liberating to
Yeah.
be on the site. Thanks, Tom. That's Nick I'm probably pronouncing people's names wrong, Kanori. But I'm reading those, you guys, because Tom doesn't have the comments on the screen. But yeah, I mean, this is so. I think like so. What advice would you give, Tom, like to somebody that's listening and they're saying, so I want to be part of that energy. I want to make a difference. What can I do
Well, it's
every
very
day?
interesting that you raised that question because as I'm sitting here and you're reading those comments, I am feeling the collective energy of all the people who are commenting, right? And I'm feeling their intention. I'm feeling that, um, even though we're not formally meditating, even though we're not formally, um, um, going through the motions of a circle, um, there is that kind of a circle energy here,
There
and I
is.
can feel it from the comments where people's intentions are and where they're focusing their energy, and it is creating a kind of a um, um, let's say a group spiritual um, energy, and I'm feeling positive hits from it. So thank
Yeah.
you, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. I
Yeah,
was feeling the same thing. It's like, as that's why I wanted to read them because as you all are participating and listening to what Tom's saying, it's growing the energy right here. Right here, we're doing it and connecting to that higher power that's going to make a difference.
yeah, yeah. That's real. A couple more. I also want to talk about there's another class. Since this is the Lilydale channel too, that I need to talk about
The
what's
classes.
up for
Wait,
Lilydale.
Tom, real quick, by the way, everybody, I will post links to any classes Tom is teaching in Lilydale in the comments. So go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, there's a class in uh, this summer. It's a 1 day, and it's called Healing with Elementals,
Yeah, I love
um, and working with elemental energy and healing, which is it's been a wonderful that part has been a wonderful journey for me as well, learning and understanding that everything in creation, um, um, has um, has a spiritual consciousness. Everything, you
Every
know,
everything. Yeah.
everything. And when you work in a healing fashion elementally, you learn to engage with the spiritual essence of that stuff. For instance, you would learn to engage with the spiritual essence of a person's liver if they have a liver disease, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and and that gives you greater range in terms of what it is that you can do to help an individual.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because you're seeing things at many different levels, and you're able to consciously engage with it. The
Yeah.
same thing is that, there's in elemental work, it's very good for detoxification, for instance, right? And I'll talk briefly about this because this is really a valuable
Yeah.
concept.
Please.
So the concept is this. I used to when I would work with people that I knew that there was a problem, either substance abuse, or they contacted a chemical that wasn't good for them, and um, creating all kinds of problems physically. I used to practice certain old shamanic techniques where you try to connect with that energy, and you pull it out and pull it out and pull it out. And then one day I was given some new direction from spirit, and the new direction said, um, "Don't treat it as negative. Don't treat this stuff as negative. Treat it as it's something that got invited somehow into that person, but has a better place elsewhere." So, and then you engage with it in a um, in a really in a loving manner, and you say, okay, you know, you got invited in there, but your time is done. Um, your role is over in this person, and I'd like to invite you out. And this stuff comes out of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
I love
does.
I
Yeah,
love that,
yeah.
Tom. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it does, so, and there's other techniques that I would go to in the class itself, but um, it changed tremendously how I work with that stuff. And the other thing is, it's another blessing because um, rather than fighting anything, you're just engaging positively.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Mm.
Everybody, like, don't you love listening to Tom talk about healing? I love it. And he does. He's connecting direct with spirit who guides him or inspire he you always say inspires you to, have a different technique or look at it that way. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what working with
Oh,
elementally. I say elementally. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's not working with you know fairies and that kind of stuff. No. However, there's probably an element of that that's engaged with it. If you look at it, depends on the culture,
Yeah.
that you're working with and so on. They sometimes will different cultures will ascribe um, uh, experiences to fairies and this and that may, from my perspective, to look at something else, but it's still positive.
Yeah, for sure. Let me read you a couple things here, Tom. Hi, Nancy. The Harmony House family welcomed me a decade ago. Now I know who pulls the weeds at the Octagon House and watches out for Tom.
Oh, my wife, yes,
Yeah, yeah,
she
Ellie.
doesn't.
She's
Ellie, yeah.
amazing. Pam Barry, Tom, you are an amazing teacher. You changed my life. And for that, I'm forever grateful. That's pretty cool. Thank you. Donna Robertson, I participate with Joanne every Monday night at 7, sending out healing. She and the healers are great. That's true. In Lilydale. Yeah. And Shari 24. Hi, Tom and Angie. Love the conversation. I know I love our conversation too.
Yeah,
I love. I always, whenever I have a talk with Tom, I always have all these notes of things we're going to talk about, and then really the conversation just kind of goes where it needs to, doesn't it, Tom?
yeah, 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 and that's nice. And then that means that we're kind of um letting letting a higher intelligence run the show. You know, that's what I think sometimes. Yeah,
I do too. I do too. It's kind
yeah,
of like what we most need, and what everybody else most needs too. That's what Elaine Thomas always said, that if you're going to give a talk, trust it, and let the higher
mm,
powers come in. They'll tell you what to talk about, right?
yeah. And the other thing that we have, you give a talk, have a passion about what you're going to speak about.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, and then the passion and an inspiration. So, like, if I speak in a church, it's like I don't know. I'm given a date maybe months in advance, and I put it in the back of my brain and say, what will I need to talk about when the time comes? And ideas pop up along the way. Okay, and then you find out that when you do the talk, you might have two or three people come up to you afterwards and say, "I just needed to hear that today."
oh
You know,
yes, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. That's an amazing. That's always amazing, and I always feel that. Well, I mean, I think spirit works with us on everything, and
yeah,
I love, like what you were saying in our talk a lot, is that we need to open ourselves up to those higher powers that are there, that want to heal the world, and are there for us every day too.
absolutely,
Right, Tom?
absolutely, yeah, yeah,
I just want to tell everybody too that our next, I'm looking at I can't remember, I'm bad at dates, but our next World Healing Meditation is going to be on Thursday, February 13th. So right now, Tom is leading those every other Thursday. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to doing them more than that, right, Tom?
yeah, yeah. And I'm also the plan is I'm also going to produce a world healing meditation that will be um, online, and it'll have music with it. It'll have some other. It'll have an introductory explanation of why and how to get the best out of the particular meditation.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, so that'll get posted probably on Facebook and some other, and actually YouTube and so on.
yeah,
But that's in the process. I have to get together with my my good friend Rob Gordon, who's a wonderful healer, but also a great musician, and he has done a fantastic job with orchestrating the music for my CDs. I've got about 5 or 6
I know.
um,
I love your seat.
meditation CDs,
Yeah, yeah.
but he's done a fantastic job.
Yeah. I know, I 100% agree. And so would you say this then too, like, so if somebody wants to start today or start tomorrow, if they meditate and just sort of bring the white light in, and maybe bring it to their hearts, and then just send healing, like white, I always imagine it as white light
Mm.
kind of coming from my heart and sending it to the world. Will that, is that a good thing to do, would you say, or what else could
Yeah,
you recommend?
sure. Yeah, there's so many ways to get to for people to center themselves,
Mhm.
and I'm sure even those listening, um, they've been exposed to a variety of different meditative techniques. You know, if something works for you, then use it. So you might try a number of different techniques, but if they don't work for you, they don't work for you. Find something that allows you to get quiet, and open.
Mhm.
And when you feel that sense of being open to the universe, and just and be there and know that you're welcoming the healing energy from that place. If it's now for me, I agree with you about the heart. For me, the heart is a focal point for my meditations as well, because I
Yeah.
feel like it's very important for us as human beings, um, not to be, like trying to reach outside of ourselves to anything, but to be centered as a human being and as relaxed as possible, because that's where the healing happens.
Yeah.
That's where the healing needs to happen, where it needs to happen at this level, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Because there's been I remember back in the 60s, and there was this whole, what I call escapist mentality, you know, that you would escape into the spiritual. That's not the goal. I don't believe, and it's not for me anyway. It's not my goal for meditation. My goal is to experience um, peacefulness and wholeness and blessing here in my body.
Oh
Not
yeah.
that I have to go anywhere to have it.
Yeah.
Not that
I
I have to, like reach outside into the heavenly domains and leave my body behind. And there
Yeah.
were a lot of meditation practices that taught that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't I don't ascribe to that, because I think that we're purposefully here as humans.
Hmm.
And it's important for us to be integrated in both our bodies as a biological human being, and our spirit
Yes.
and our spiritual nature. So when it all comes together, that's when we're whole.
Yeah. I a hundred
And
percent
that's the
agree.
magic happening.
Yeah, 100%
Yeah.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
go within, find that peace and that magic that's inside all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. Well, I can't believe an hour went by, Tom.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
I always kind of think like, wow, an hour seems like a long time and then it's gone. So,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for coming on and talking. I feel like what we talked about was so important today.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
there's one more thing
Yeah.
I didn't mention, that um every Columbus weekend
Oh,
I also teach a class on restructuring, which is a counseling method that I developed that helps people deal with unwanted resistance patterns. So like we find ourselves being reactive to things and wondering why. You know, why do I do this to myself? Why do it's like so? This particular method helps people get to the bottom of it, and to not only get to the bottom of it, but to change, to
yeah.
have fundamental change
Yeah.
around it in a very short period of time.
It's amazing, and not only does Tom teach that every Columbus Day weekend, you can also have a session with Tom where he'll do a restructuring session and help you do that same thing and guide you to do it. Because I've had several of them. It's made a huge difference in my life.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and so you can get. I'll put Tom's information in that you can contact him, and hopefully I'm trying to get him to come on down to Santosha to my center in Williamsville and offer some restructurings. What do you think,
Yeah, I'll
Tom?
be doing that. I will be doing that once the weather clears a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, and
Because
then we'll maybe do a healing class at Santosha too. I'm hoping so. All right. Well, thank you, Tom. And everybody,
all
thank you
right.
so much for joining us. We appreciate you taking time out of your Sunday
Yeah.
to spend time with us. So thank you.
Wait. Do we have just another minute or
Of
so?
course. Yeah, of course.
So okay. So what I would like to do is for all of us to just close our eyes just for a second, and just for a minute or so, and know that there are a number of other people that have been sharing this time, and sharing this time at reaching for new light, for new energy, um, for new life, if you will. More harmony, peace, and healing. And that, because we've been doing that simultaneously with that similar intent, we have been creating this energy um, that we're all linked to, and that is feeding us. And just let yourself accept the blessing of that, and the opportunity that we've shared in being together with this um, this single focus of love, of healing, and harmony. and how, as we allow ourselves to experience this, it radiates out. Not only it imbues us, we are imbued with that love, we are imbued with that peace, but it also radiates out. You can feel its impact kind of pulsing out from each and every one of us. And we can say, thank you, thank you, God, for this opportunity. God bless. And there we are. That's a little bit of just saying thank you for the grace.
I love that, Tom. Thank you. Thank you
And
so much.
I felt a beautiful energy with that. So
Me too. A very beautiful energy with that. And actually, people are writing on here that so did they. Raise the vibration, Joanne just said. So yeah, that was a perfect way, perfect thing to do, Tom. Perfect way to end it. I appreciate that. Thank you.
all right. Bless you. Bless everyone.
Bless everybody. Thank you.